So section 11.7 is called Powers of Binomials. And so we're going to look at the pattern for the coefficients when you expand your binomials, or when you multiply them multiple times, like as in how many powers you, how many times whatever the power is. So the first one's pretty easy. So if you have the binomial a plus b and you take it to the 0 power, anything to the power of 0 is just 1. Then if you have a plus b to the power of 1, it's just a plus b, and the coefficients are 1 and 1. Then if you have a plus b to the power of 2, the coefficients are going to be 1, 2, and 1. So what this starts doing is creating something called Pascal's triangle. So Pascal's triangle, starting with row 0, is going to have 1s on each end and then be the sum of the 2 numbers above it. So on the next row, for row 3, we're going to have a 1, and then 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 1 is 3, and then 1s on each end. That's for when you have a plus b to the 3rd power. Notice that the power and the row are going to match each other. So for a plus b to the 4th power, we're going to have 1. Add the 1 and the 3, you get 4. 3 plus 3 is 6. That's row 4. So row 5, the coefficients are going to be 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. A plus b to the 6th power is going to be 1, 6, 15, 20, 15, 6, and 1. That's row 6. Okay? So you can kind of see how the pattern for the coefficients for when you have binomial expansion. All right? So there's 3 steps you're going to follow when you want to figure out how to easily expand a binomial. First, I want you to use the coefficients from the proper row. And we went up through row 6, but you can go up as many rows as you need to go. Okay? Step number 2, the first term, or the a, is going to start at the highest exponent and go down to 0. The b, or the second term, is going to start at 0 and go up to the exponent. The third thing you want to do is just simplify. Okay, so let's look at an example of what's about to happen. So example number 1, we're asked to expand the binomial a plus b to the 6th power. Sorry, I wrote squared. So that's how far we went with Pascal's triangle. So nice. We're just going to use these as all of our coefficients. Our first term a is going to start at the power of 6 and go down to 0. Our second term b is going to start at 0 and go up to 6. So here's what it looks like. We're going to take the first coefficient of 1. We're going to take a to the 6th power, and then b to the 0 power. That's our first term. On our next pass, we're going to simplify. Next term, coefficient is 6. A, we're going to subtract 1, so a to the 5th. B, we're going to add 1. That's our second term. Then we look for our next coefficient, which is 15. We're going to subtract 1 from the exponent of a, add 1 to the b. That's our third term. Next coefficient is 20. So subtract 1 from the A, add 1 to the B. Next coefficient is 15. Subtract 1 from the A, add 1 to the B. I'm running out of room. Let's see. So the next coefficient is 6. I'm going to squeeze it in real small. So that'll be A to the first, B to the fifth. And the last term has a coefficient of 1, A to the 0, B to the 6th. Okay. Now let's simplify each of those. Okay, B to the 0 is 1, 1 times 1 is 1. So 1 A to the 6th is just A to the 6th. B to the first is just B. We don't have to multiply the 6 by anything, so we've just got 6 A to the 5th, B. We don't have to write a first power, you can if you want. Plus the next term. Nothing really to simplify, so 15A to the 4th, B squared. Plus nothing to simplify here, 20A to the 3rd, B to the 3rd. Plus 15A squared, B to the 4th, nothing to simplify. Plus 6, we don't have to write the first power, you can if you want, B to the 5th. And the last term, A to the 0 is 1, 1 times 1 is 1, and B to the 6th. All right? Let's do one that has a little more multiplying in it. All right, so example number 2. We're going to expand the binomial x minus 2y to the 7th power. So I'm going to squeeze one more up here in my Pascal's triangle. I'm going to create my 7th row. So I just have all my coefficients. We're going to have 1, 7, 21, 35, 35, 21, 7, and 1. I'm almost definitely going to run out of room. I'll try and write smaller. All right, so our first term is going to have a coefficient of 1. And our x is going to start with the 7th power. And then our b term, our negative 2y, is going to go to the 0 power. And then we're going to work our way up. Okay, we'll simplify that on our next pass. The next coefficient is 7. So we're going to take x to the 6th, and we're going to take our negative 2y to the 1st power. Next term has a coefficient of 21. Take our x to the 5th, our negative 2y to the 2nd, and that's our 3rd term. Next coefficient is 35. X to the 4th, negative 2y to the 3rd, and then we have another 35, x to the 3rd, negative 2y to the 4th, and I'm running out of room, so I'm going to continue down here. Plus 21 is our next coefficient, x to the 2nd, and negative 2y, go up 1 to the 5th. Next coefficient is 7, x to the 1st, and our negative 2y is to the 6th, and our last term, 1, x to the 0, negative 2y to the 7th. Now we can simplify. All right, so let me move that up and get working here. All right, anything to the 0 power is 1, 1 times 1 is 1, so we're just left with x to the 7th. Next term, and I'm going to put a little check mark because I have so many. All right, negative 2y to the 1st is just negative 2y. So if I take that negative 2 and multiply it by the 7, I get negative 14. X to the 6th, y to the 1st. You can write the 1 if you want to, but you don't have to. The 3rd term, I've got negative 2y squared. So negative 2y times negative 2y is positive 4y. 4 times 21 is 84. X to the 5th, y to the 2nd. That one's done. Next term right here. So I have negative 2y to the 3rd. That gives me negative 8 times 35. So this shouldn't be plus, this should be minus 280 x to the fourth, y to the third. You're going to notice that when you have a minus in there, your negative signs should alternate. So positive, negative, positive, negative. The next one should be positive. So for this term over here, we have negative 2y to the fourth. So negative 2 to the fourth is 16. 16 times 35. I got 560. X to the third. Y to the fourth. That one's done. Got a couple more. So jump down here. Negative 2y to the fifth power. So negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 should, and then multiply that by 21. We should get, we're on alternating, so this one should be negative. 672 x squared y to the fifth. Now we've got these two left. Okay, so this one should be plus because we're alternating. So negative 2y to the sixth, multiply that negative 2 to the sixth power, multiply it by 7. I got 448. X to the first, so I'm just going to write x. Y to the sixth. And we're almost done. One more term. X to the 0 is just 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Negative 2 to the seventh, I got negative 128. X to the 0, so I don't need to write it. Y to the seventh. All right. Thanks for watching.